You found the Tony Basilio stream at TonyBasilio.com or on your smartphone or tablet. Another thrilling, chilling, and sometimes spilling edition of the Basilio Show is on the way next. Tips are always appreciated here at TonyBasilio.com.
WJBE 1040 AM 99.7 FM.
Translator W259AB.
Powell, Knoxville.
My unit's working just fine today. I hope yours is too. We need our units on board this week. This is no time to have issues with your unit. Because I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, it is H to the O to the T. And we're playing music live Thursday night down at Calhoun's in Lenoir City. And then Friday at Calhoun's on the River. And I'll tell you what, it is H to the O to the T outside. Bino, Jeff, no time this week for your unit to be on the blink, if you know what I mean.
You got that right, Tony, and I thought ours was yesterday, but it made a comeback, so we're good.
Did it quit working for like a little bit?
Yes.
Oh.
Apparently it's got some kind of delay.
Oh.
Once it kicks off, it has some kind of delay on the compressor coming back on. So, but the wife figured it out as usual, so we're all good. How
soft are we, Bino, as people? All of us that gotten used to that.
Oh yeah, we're not ready for any of this anymore, Tony. Nobody's acclimated for this.
Did you have air conditioning?
Except guys are doing roofing or working on the roads.
Did you have air conditioning in your house growing up, Bino? Because we didn't. We never had air conditioning.
Yeah, I did. You know, it's a window unit, spitter and sputtering, trying to cool the whole house down. But
window unit. I remember those days. Yeah. Yep. I had a window unit in my upstairs room because I slept upstairs in our house. Like, people don't realize this, in Pennsylvania, in the summer, it gets brutally hot. Like, there will be, well, at least when I was a kid, there were 2 or 3 week periods where it doesn't go below 80 degrees. I mean, it's smoking hot at night. You're literally, you're sleeping with maybe a sheet on you. Maybe a sheet on you. But we're going to do a little show and tell in here today. Shout out to my nephew Joe, who sent me this. Let me turn my camera on so my boys can see this. My nephew Joe, shout out to him. Look at that, boys. That is a replica, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, of the old Philadelphia Spectrum. These 5-layer stadium view thing, 3D replicas. Hey, Brian Hartman, how cool looking's that look? Look at that bad boy. Brian, can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. It it looks very nice and organized.
Got the Flyers logo in the middle of the center ice. So thank you to my nephew Joe who's watching us today. And then my sister, hey Laura, hand me that. My sister knitted me something. I want to show the living listener this. Laura just laid it across the room on me. I got to get up and get it here. Don't try this at home. Don't hurt yourself, Tony. So my sister took to knitting, and she knitted me a blanket, y'all, that looks like, now, Bino, you guys have to see this thing in person to believe it, but it's got every kind of logo. It's got all kinds of Tennessee stuff on it. It's got this thing took hundreds and hundreds of hours to do. It's got the old, it's absolutely beautiful. It even has like a golf motif on it. So I want to thank my sister for that. And, you know, when you get a care package from home, and I got a couple of them this week, it kind of warms your heart. You know, that warms your heart. So shout out to my family for thinking of me. And that's a beautiful thing. I'm going to get emotional here on the air. So let's rip this umpire, Bino. Are you for or against Angel compost after yesterday, Bino?
I was thinking, Tony, I think it says a lot more about college umpiring than anything else. that you can get a guy that's a failure at the major league level, and all of a sudden he's assigned to the premier event in your entire season for college baseball? I mean, come on.
Will Heflin knows him. Will's going to join us in our next segment coming up. Will said the guy has rabbit ears and he has issues. He said, but other than that, really great guy to put in that spot. He said the guy's got an itchy trigger finger. He's got issues. You imagine Bino taking a guy with an itchy trigger finger that you know is like that and putting him behind the plate for a game like that? And he was having a wretched first inning. He missed 3 calls right off the bat. And then LSU practiced gamesmanship on that Morrison kid. They had their third base coach was out of the box looking into his glove, looking at his grip. What do you think of that, Bino, the whole thing?
I think that's baseball, Tony. It's been baseball for as long as I can remember it.
Here is what the Schnall guy said after the game. He suffered no fools, and I don't blame him. And then I want to talk about this SEC scheduling thing that we mentioned Friday. I want to get Bino's thoughts on this because I really think there's a decent chance that the SEC stays at 8 games now. Unless the Big Ten says to them, hey, our alliance is off here unless you guys play 9 with the rest of us, which they're not going to do that. SEC's going to stay at 8 games. I believe that. Schnall said the following, the head coach of Coastal Carolina, whose team does all this work to get in this spot, and that is a mid starting 8 of LSU that won a championship based on 3 arms, the 2 starters and the guy in the bullpen that throws the bowling ball. But that's a mid-starting 8. I'm not sure they have a major league player in their 8 players, and they just won a national championship. That little Milan guy, you talk about a guy that needs an absolute kick in the junk. What an annoying little baseball player he is. Anyway, he said, did you see it, Bino, when the whole thing happened? Or Brian, were you guys watching this thing when it went down?
I was.
I saw a umpire just trip over his own feet.
He said, if you guys watch the video, there was a guy that came and he's talking about that umpire. Extremely aggressively. Tripped over Campos's foot. Embarrassed himself in front of 25,000. Gets up and says to me, 2-game suspension. Gets up and says to me, 2-game suspension. After he gets up, Schnall goes on and says, 2-game suspension, bumping an umpire. I say to him, there was no bump. I shouldn't be held accountable for a grown man's lack of athleticism. Now it's excessive because I'm trying to tell him that I didn't bump him. It is what it is. If that warrants an ejection, there would be a lot of ejections in our sport. As umpires, it's your job to manage a game with some poise and calmness and a little bit of tolerance. And Bino, that's my biggest problem. The NCAA said they issued a statement, well, he was prolonged arguing. What would an umpire have to say to you, Bino, for you to throw him out of the first inning of a game? Because absent of him kicking dirt on me Earl Weaver style, I am not ejecting him there. I'm telling him to go back into the dugout, but I'm not going to eject him there, especially when I was the one that started it by warning his first base coach. That Campos guy goaded him into that, Bino.
Tony, what about first inning and prolonged goes together? Prolonged, it's the first inning. Give me a break.
Brian Hartman, how bad did your heart hurt for Indiana last night? The state that loves basketball and basketball won't love it back. Tyrese Halliburton very gallantly tried to play last night, showed a lot of guts and courage. The same exact thing. You know, these athletes are finely tuned machines at that level. And anytime one part of your body is addled, you're going to overcompensate, and you don't even know you're doing it physically. But when his hammy popped, Bry, and rolled up his, and you could see it, it reminded me so much of Kevin Durant in that same spot in the NBA Finals back in 2019. Same exact thing happened to Kevin Durant, Bry. God, that's so sad. And those kids fought so hard, and T.J. McConnell fought so hard, but man, that's a heartbreaking thing to see, Bry.
Usually, the first game you're playing at home with it, you have so much adrenaline and the crowd gets you going, and he played great considering the circumstances. But the second game is usually the one where you might have to worry about something going wrong. And there's just seems like the Achilles has been, that is, pardon the pun, an Achilles heel for a lot of players recently. And you got to wonder if they're overtraining, what's causing this with Tatum a few weeks ago, and now with Halliburton last night. And I think the second game, when the player's trying to play, it only carries you so far. And that was trouble for Indiana. And I don't know that they're going to win that game anyway, even if he's healthy. It might have been interesting. We'd have liked to at least seen them have a chance with him playing the whole way, and hopefully they're in the game, but we don't know.
Bino, have you ever been around somebody who has an Achilles injury, like suffer one in your vicinity? Because they say Anthony had it happen to a guy he knows playing basketball with him. He said you can hear it. It sounds like almost like a pop or a shot. You can almost hear it, or you can hear it actually.
Yeah, it's a terrible injury, Tony. I played with a guy that tore one playing softball, and his basically rolled up the back of his leg like an old-timey Spam can that you would take a key and roll it up.
Yes. Oh,
awful. It's an awful injury.
If you watch Halliburton last night, he's trying to maneuver around the defender. He's got the ball, he's got the ball in his hands. He immediately, as he goes around the defender, as his Achilles gave, he lost his gravity, fell on the ground, because that's essentially what was holding him up. I mean, it's amazing how we're all made and crafted and put together and knitted together in our mother's womb, as Scripture says, but man, seeing that injury is just, it makes you appreciate how much those guys want to be out there. And it also makes you appreciate how just any of us, when you have like a little knee injury and all of a sudden your other hip will start hurting or your ankle will start hurting. Anytime you're compromised in one area of your body, something else, especially at that level, something else could go. And the same exact thing happened to both those guys. Similar injuries, speaking of Durant and him. And by the way, congratulations to Houston for getting Durant, who's totally washed. Hey, Rockets, why don't you trade for Joel Embiid now and let's make it official? You can put a couple rocking chairs there at midcourt. Why don't you go ahead and trade for Joel Embiid? And let's go ahead and make it. And we'll even throw in Paul George if you'd like. You can have an all-name team next year. We come back. Chef No Chef joins. 865-200-5402. Lulu's down here today. Lulu's come down to hang out in the studio with me. I think she thought Will Heflin was down here. That's her buddy. She must have heard me say Will Heflin's name. That's her buddy right there. So her buddy will join us, this compost guy, and then I want to talk to these guys about this 8 or 9 SEC games. What should the league do? What's the league going to do? Is the league really going to stay at 8 conference games? Because they figured, as a Tennessee fan, And I got some pretty good emails on this over the weekend. As a Tennessee fan, I think the Vols have a better path to getting to the playoff with 8 league games than I do with 9. And that's their calculus. That's the SEC's calculus. We want to put teams like Tennessee in a position to make the playoffs more times than not. And I'm going to ask Bino, even if it costs Tennessee a playoff berth every 5 years, would you rather see 9 league games, or are all politics local, and let's keep this thing so that we can continue to do our thing? I don't know if it makes any sense, but I hope it does. More on the other side after this.
Are you searching for a great local coffee? I'm Billy with Grade A Grounds. You can buy our freshly roasted coffee online and support a good cause with every sip. Great coffee, greater causes. Visit our website today, gradeagrounds.com.
Your Smokies are back home this week, and you asked for it, so you got it. All You Can Eat Wednesdays is back. Pulled pork, hot dogs, Bush's baked beans, popcorn, chips, drinks, a ticket to the game. You get it all. Don't forget Thirsty Thursdays with half-off draft beers, and next weekend, we've got Medieval Night on Friday with Knights, Royals, and fireworks. Smokies Version Night and fireworks on Saturday with the first 2,000 fans receiving a free friendship bracelet. And come meet Flippy on Sunday. Grab your tickets now at smokiesbaseball.com.
Life never stops moving, and between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up, a tire designed for doers, a tire that's going to last, like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather & Kittrell Capital Management. And here at Rather & Kittrell, we understand that life is full of transitions. Since 2000, our team of dedicated certified financial planners has been helping individuals, families, and businesses navigate these changes with confidence. From comprehensive wealth management to tailored retirement plans, we're committed to guiding you toward a secure financial future. Ready to take the next step? Visit rkcapital.com or call us at 865-218-8400 to start your journey today. Rather & Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
Summer officially starts this month, and the last thing you want during sweltering heat is a broken air conditioner or HVAC system. That means it's more important than ever to keep you and your family comfortable and safe before extreme Tennessee temperatures arrive. Don't ignore the warning signs that your AC is struggling or nearing the end of its lifespan. And if you need emergency HVAC repairs, routine preventative maintenance, or want to invest in a new system, then call the trusted HVAC experts at Pipe Wrench Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. This month, get up to a $1,000 discount when you buy and install a new air conditioner or HVAC system. We make it easy with free on-site estimates for replacements and free second opinions on repairs. And if budgets are tight, we offer flexible payment plans including 0% financing with credit approval. Be sure to ask about our 10-plus year warranties that are 2 times longer than industry standards, so you don't spend a cent on unexpected costs in the future. So call Pipe Wrench at 865-264-8090 or book online at pipewrench.com to schedule your appointment today.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Are you stuck in a dead-end job or ready for a new challenge? Do you feel like it's time to try a new career? Well, it's time to change lanes with TLD Logistics. My friends at TLD Logistics have some really exciting opportunities for you to learn a new skill. With a new 5-acre driving academy that's now under new leadership with all new course material. And the best part, it's absolutely free. What a great deal to set you on the road to higher pay. And TLD Logistics even offers weekly stipends to offset food and gas expenses. In 6 weeks' time, you could complete this course and be in compliance with FMCSA regulations. Then you're ready for the open road of opportunity. What are you waiting for? It's time to change lanes with TLD Logistics. Visit tldlogistics.com. That's tldlogistics.com. TLD Logistics.
A lime is not always just a lime. You see, some limes are lucky. For when a lime joins the salted rim of a crisp, refreshing Tres Dos Equis, that lime is no longer a mere lime, but a wedge of renowned Mexican limón. Muchas gracias, limón. And also, de nada. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis, imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Hi there, Basilio crew. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. If you're thinking about selling your home, I've got good news for you. The East Tennessee and Knoxville areas are projected to have another strong year. I'll be happy to talk with you about the latest and greatest info you need. So give me a call at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. Hope to hear from you soon, and go Vols.
Josh Collins at Collins Insurance Agency. At Collins Insurance, we strive to ensure our customers receive better coverage along with bigger savings. Our community is important to us. We want to provide exceptional service to our customers. Anybody can provide great rates, great coverage, but can you also get great service? And hey, don't just take my word for it.
What's up, everybody? Zakai Ziegler here. My family turns to Collins Insurance Agency for the best service, coverage, and price.
So don't just go online and get some random insurance. Experience the Collins Insurance difference.
Like he said, experience the Collins Insurance difference. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. And hey, their Mama's Easy approved. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. Thank you to Josh Collins and ZZ.
One more thing, Tony. Go Vols!
Preparing food for a big gathering can really take it out of you. That's why you need to call Calhoun's and check out their selection of party platters. Whether you're hosting a party for the big game, a reunion, or just an everyday gathering, a Calhoun's party platter is next level. Choose from Calhoun's always excellent chicken tenders, fly with Calhoun's wings, or boneless wings with a variety of dipping sauces, award-winning next-level melt-in-your-mouth barbecue ribs, or delicious spinach artichoke dip, or get one of each. Plus, if you're doing burgers or sandwiches, Calhoun's has lots of side dishes like spinach Maria, baked cinnamon apples, Smoky Mountain baked beans, or creamy coleslaw. Available in pints, quarts, and gallons. And to finish things off, pick up one of Calhoun's great desserts to go, including homemade cheesecake or key lime pie. Calhoun's, simply your go-to party headquarters. With 9 locations all over East Tennessee, you can order online and just pick it up. Calhoun's, one of the Copper Cellar family of restaurants, along with Chesapeake's, Copper Cellar, Corner 16, Cherokee Grill, and Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good. It's always magnificent. Mondays on the Basilio Show, presented by our friends at Fleet Tire. I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. And now, back to B. Performing with the greatest of ease, moving right to left and left to right across your device and moving through your vertical hold, not to mention your tint. As we speak, my name is Tony Basilio. Chef Not Chef, a.k.a. Will Heflin, now joins the fray. He of VIP Play fame. Willie will be a fixture on our upcoming winners and losers in the fall. We're fired up, focused, and prepared. Before I get to Angel Compost and his marring of the game yesterday, let's start on the college football tip, boys. And then Bino, you got a trip planned. And we gotta hear about this because this is my kind of sports luck. I love sports luck. Guys, Bino, you weren't here. A story broke. They SEC, ACC, the 4 mob godfathers in Notre Dame, the 4 commissioners in what they're now calling the commission, met over at Grove Park Inn, Beanstar. And by the way, Will, how we doing, babe?
Good, brother.
Good to hear.
Talk to you.
Oh, you're my man. I love you. Superstar. I was telling Ben McKee the other day, I said, this guy's a He's a superstar. I said I call him a superstar off the air. He's a freaking superstar. All right, so they met at Grove Park Inn. They showed them the new metric that's going to be used for deciding one team's worthiness of a playoff contention over another's. Lo and behold, the SEC walks out of that meeting, the reporting is, perhaps under the belief that, you know what, we'd be better off staying at 8. We're going to push for a 5+11 format, which to the uninitiated means that in a 5+11 format, we're going to fight for as many at-large spots as we can get, fight the other leagues for the at-large spots, and our league most years is going to be stronger than these other leagues, which means the teams in the middle of the league, a la the Tennessees a lot of years, no offense to anybody, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but that's kind of where we are. The Tennessees a lot of years would be able to climb in, maybe pull an Ole Miss in, maybe under last year's format, pull a South Carolina in, maybe pull an Alabama in, who was more toward the middle last year than toward the top. Bino, I ask you this. Let's go around the room now. Do you believe that would be a good thing for Tennessee if we stay at 8 games in terms of getting into the playoff?
Tony, I think it's yes. I think it's an easier path to the playoffs for whoever you're talking about in the Southeastern Conference if they remain at 8 conference games. Yes, that's an easier route to the playoffs.
Now, do you want that, Bino?
I've always been forthright here, Tony, and in my opinion on this is based on my enjoyment as a fan and entertainment level as a fan. And I hate to see Southeastern Conference teams play 4 games against teams that can't play dead in the Western. I've always thought it was cowardly of them when the other leagues went to 9 games, most of the leagues, with the exception, I think, of the ACC, and us to keep bloating our league and remaining at 8. And I know that the playoffs are more important than conference championships or anything else now. I didn't think you got so much a true conference champion with only 8 league games in a bloated league. But no, I would prefer them play 9 because I want one of those crip games off the dang schedule.
I guess the way and what they're going to say, they're going to say, Bino, that because of the component, the scheduling, the fact that the schedule and meeting these metrics is going to come into play, that they're going to play another non-league game that's up to snuff. So you're going to have 2 pretty good non-league games instead of in lieu of having the 9th SEC game. Yeah. Do you buy that?
You remember what they told us when they went to 12 games, right, Tony? From 11?
Yeah, I do. I remember getting lied to. All right, Brian Hartman, before I bring our guest in here and put him on the spot, but Heflin's got great range. He is a he's a college football, how do I put this? Degenerate would be a great word. Bri, if we had 8 league games versus 9, what's better for Tennessee to make the playoffs, Bri? Say on an annual basis.
I think 8 games is better to make the playoffs, but I always sort of, instead of just adding 1 game to go to 9, I would like to have a balanced, play as many home games as you do road games. And if you had a 9-game schedule, you'd have to play every other year only 4 home games. So if we went to 9, I'd almost rather go to 10 so everybody can be balanced that way. But I think it'd be easier for the Vols if they stay at 8.
Brian, what do you prefer?
either 8 or 10. And I would be more entertained if they went to 10 conference games. But I don't like the 9 where you've got
But that,
5.
Bino, he says 8 or 10. He doesn't want us to. He doesn't want 9. He thinks 9's like an odd number. Is that what you're saying, Bri?
Yeah, yes.
Because 1 year you're
some
playing
teams
5,
have more home games.
1 year
others.
you're playing 4. That's exactly right. What are you going to do with that, Bino? What do you say to that? Brian's got a good point there. Let's move along. Bino don't have anything to say to that. Hey, Will, what's better for Tennessee? You having worn the uniform, 8 league games, Will, or 9 in terms of what's more conducive for Tennessee to get to a playoff?
Yeah, it's totally dependent on who you're scheduling. If you have an extra non-conference game, but you say I wore the uniform, I didn't wear football pads. That would have been bad for everyone involved. But we play 10 weekends every year on the baseball side, and I know it's a different sport, and basketball plays more than both. I don't know off the top of my head how many conference games, but I'm with Bri. I think 10 is the even number that's balanced. Here's the issue with 8, in my opinion. You now have 16 teams in the league, so you've got your 3 non-negotiables that you're going to play every single year. So you've got 5 in rotation right now. So you're going to play. You basically have 15 teams plus yourself. So those 5 you play are rotating. You're going to have a weird. We've already seen this with the first year that Texas was in, had a cupcake schedule. And then you've got teams like Florida just playing an absolute gauntlet. There's no way, and you can never have it completely balanced, but the SEC conference schedule is going to look light years different for one team than it would look for the other. So when you have 10 conference games, it's just much more balanced. And look, we're going to a 16-team playoff sooner rather than later. You're not going to get docked for having an extra loss when you potentially have 2 more quality wins. So I don't really get the argument of what's the best to make the playoff? Like, what's the best to prep you to make a run in the playoff? And that's the thing. It's going to become, it'll never be a tournament sport like basketball or baseball with 64 teams. But when you have the 16 teams, it's going to be a bracket sport. You've got a bracket of a Sweet 16, and you've got to be prepared to make a run. And I don't see how playing another game against, no disrespect to anyone, but a directional school, in your non-conference, whether it's before the conference slate starts or that middle, bye week essentially that you get at the end of the year. So I don't really like it from a competitive standpoint. Maybe I'm just being too hard-nosed about it, but it's like, if you claim to be the best conference with the most competitive teams, why would you be scared to play each other? That's just better preparation. Then you have an even stronger argument going into that committee time of year when they're looking at resumes, and all that does, and people will complain about the SEC bias. You want to talk about SEC bias, give a 10-game conference schedule to a really good SEC team that's borderline. Maybe they have 3 or 4 losses. They're going to get the nod over somebody who's got 2 or 3 in a much easier conference path. Like, I think you're just making it, you're making it harder from a regular season perspective, but your teams are going to be more prepared, and they're also going to get more, style points for having higher quality wins. So I don't see why playing less conference games would ever be the decision here, especially when other conferences are playing more than you. Like it just needs to be as equal as you can make it. And, for the SEC to be what they are, you're going to get the leg up. If you're playing the same number of games, you're going to get the benefit of the doubt.
Bino, thoughts on what Will's saying?
No, I think there's I think that both Brian and Will's thoughts are certainly worthy of consideration. I understand the issue with playing one more home game or one less home game. Of course, that evens out over a 2-year period. So I don't think that's as big an issue as most people think. I know the SEC is never going to 10. Heck, fire, they don't want to come off 8. They dang sure ain't going to 10. So the next best thing for me is 9 with the imbalanced schedule.
And what do you guys do? If you go to 9, pardon my ignorance, in the Big Ten, do they do a thing where it's 5-4 and then the next year it's 4-5? And is that what you would do, Bino? You would do 5-4 and then 4-5.
It would be on 2-year intervals. Your
play
schedule would be on 2-year intervals, where you're basically playing the same teams from the conference for 2 years, and it's a home and home situation over a 2-year period.
And the other thing, Bri, in terms of the rotating schedule, and we've seen this down through the years, there are certain years where you eat the bear in this league and certain years where the bear eats you. And there's really no getting around that. When we went to these super leagues and really the SEC, when they went to 12, they were kind of fighting that.
What's silly is that with a 14-team league and an 8-game schedule, Georgia still has never gone to College Station, Texas, to this day, and they joined the league in 2012? So this way would enable pretty much, if you stay somewhere 3 to 4 years, you're going to see every other team in the league, you'd think. You might not get to play a game in every single SEC stadium besides your own, but at least you'd see a matchup with a particular opponent.
My thoughts have always been, if you're afraid to expand your conference schedule, you shouldn't have expanded your conference to start with.
I think that's a great point. I don't know if they're afraid, as you're putting it. I think they want to be compensated for it.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that's right.
And maybe I said this too strong, so I want to make sure I'm not misunderstood here. If you think for 1 second that Greg Sankey's worried about what's good for college football or for sports in general, he could care less. His responsibility, and his only responsibility, is to make as much money as possible for the institutions he serves, which keeps the cash register humming for him. And that's all he cares about. He's not worried about what's better for college football. If these guys are worried about what's better for college football, his predecessor never would have invited Texas A&M and Missouri into this thing and destabilized the whole deal, and he wouldn't have gone and gotten Texas and Oklahoma and further destabilized it. Because when he did that, then the Pac-10 fell apart. And now we have no more regionalization. And now we got baseball players. If you want to play baseball at UCLA, you got to go fly to Rutgers for a weekend. I mean, that sounds very inviting. I don't know about you, but Rutgers in April. I've been there. Been there to see my son play golf. I would pack some winter clothes for that. If you're going to do that in April, I would dress pretty snugly for that. So to Bino's point, I think Beanstar, watching these people down through the years, they're actually greedy enough that they're going to stay with 8. I think they would do that. It's not going to surprise me, Bino, if they stay with 8. How about you?
No, it won't surprise me in the least, Tony. Matter of fact, now that it's kind of back out there, it'll surprise me if they do anything but 8.
Yep. That's a great point, though. Well, so you're like, I want to make sure I'm all, you, Brian, sound like you're all in the same position, because I'm going to ask the listeners now at 865-200-5402. Would you rather see the league go to 8, stay at 8, which I think would help us here in Knoxville see more playoff runs over the next 20 years? And this obviously is This is based on a 16-game playoff, but it could be based on a 12-game playoff. Look, I think last year, if your ninth league game, and I'm just going to keep it real with you here, if your ninth league game was with South Carolina last year, do you know what would have happened in that game? Because that's what we're talking about here. The further you go into the pool in this league, and then the ninth league game in Indiana, who had a commensurate schedule in their league, they would have played like a Northwestern, somebody like that. Maybe they already played Northwestern. A Rutgers, a Maryland. That's what exists in the middle of their league. A Wisconsin, a Nebraska. In this league, middle of the league, you're talking about South Carolina, an Ole Miss. Who else, Bri? Who else comes to mind? Like middle of the league teams in our conference.
Well, Missouri.
A Missouri. You're exposing yourself. In this league, the more games you play, the more you're exposing yourself. And let me tell you, I was glad that, and I think we should all be glad that South Carolina rotated off Tennessee's schedule last year, because I don't think that would have been very fun for us. The way they were playing at the end of the year, and we would have played them right there in November like we were playing them, that would have been probably a pretty difficult game for us to win. So, all things being equal, you can go ahead and count me as somebody who's kind of glad that we missed them. But that's the point here. So I'm asking you, if you had your druthers, would you rather play 8 conference games and give yourself a better shot at getting to a playoff annually, or would you rather play 9 in the spirit of, I'd rather have more bang for my buck as a season ticket holder? I would rather see more competition as somebody that enjoys competition and enjoys sport and all that's entailed there. So how do you answer that? I would be curious. Bino said, his quote is, if you're afraid of 9 league games, then why did you expand? Is that what you said, Bino?
Yes.
Anybody else have any further thoughts on this? Okay. Will, are they really going to do that? You competed in the league. Are they really going to stay at 9 league games? And by that calculus, why don't we only play 8? Why don't we only play 8 baseball tournaments, Will? Or 8 baseball series a year? If we're going to use that mindset and get it and sneak a few more teams into the deal. Or is Will right, Bino, the fact that we play 30 league games in baseball makes it possible for us to have more teams in the tournament at the end of the year who are better positioned and more proven and more developed as teams. I mean, I'll remind you, I think LSU this year finished what in the league, guys? Do you all remember?
Like fourth or fifth.
Mississippi State, the year they won it, they were a middle-of-the-pack team in the league. Ole Miss, the year they won it, were toward the bottom of the league. I mean, it's just kind of how it's gone with the SEC and Omaha. Those teams get better and better as the year goes on. The one thing I'll say about football, though, that needs to be discussed here, and by the way, our lines are open if you want to get in at 865-200-5402, and we don't have any calls. So jump in with us. We'd love to hear from you. The one thing that makes football different than the other sports is the more games you play, the more beat up you get. And so from that perspective, maybe staying at 8 is a prudent thing to do, Bino. Would you give me that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you, Tony, I've given you from the start that 8 games is better up, especially if they're going to be light on strength of schedule the way they apparently were for Indiana last year. if that's what they're going to be going forward, and they're not going to move the cheese, there is no question that 8 games, staying at 8 games, gives the SEC a better opportunity to have more teams in the league. That just doesn't happen to be my priority as a fan watching the product.
The reporting on this is that the calculus the league is making is that 8 SEC games is greater than 9 Big Ten games, Will. And Will, you follow the sport very closely. There is no doubt that the middle of our league is unbelievably superior to the middle of the Big Ten. There is zero doubt that's true, and is going to be annually. This league is much better than that league in the middle. Much better.
It's deeper right now for sure.
Yeah.
And the thing that Indiana was able to do last year was avoid all but Ohio State when you look at the top, because they're top heavy, right? They've got the last 2 national champions.
That's right.
Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon are going to be in the mix this year.
Yeah.
Michigan is spending so much that they're not going to be, they're going to be a contender maybe this year, maybe, the year after. But it's that 4-headed monster at the top of the Big Ten that's just as good as any league in the country, the SEC included. But then you talk about the middle of the pack. And so Indiana kind of got that nice, where they avoided those top. They really only had the one guaranteed loss, which was at Ohio State, where you're much less likely to get a schedule set up that nicely in the SEC. And it becomes even less likely if you add another game. So I totally get it from that perspective. But if we're sitting here as Tennessee or Indiana fans or anybody else, it's like, is having one less game and getting to the playoff to get run off the field by Notre Dame or go to Ohio State and get beat by 30, is that what we want? Or do we want a more, do we want to go through the gauntlet a little bit? And maybe we don't make the playoffs on a year that we don't deserve it. But if we add an extra game and we get through that and are fortunate enough to be healthy enough going into the playoffs, are we prepared and ready to go anywhere in the country or have anybody come here in the country and have a better opportunity to actually make a run at the national title? That's what we have to decide when we're making this argument. Do you want to make the playoffs, or do you want to actually have a shot in the playoffs? Because you may not make it as much, but when you do make it, that A, you've earned it, and B, it's not because you got a nice schedule, and C, when we're in the playoffs, nobody's going to want to play us. And every SEC team's got to look themselves in the mirror and decide what's important to them and really probably evaluate what's our ceiling as a program. And that answer is probably different for each team and for each fan of within each program.
Yep.
Based on how they coaching staff and what that ceiling is. But for me, I'm a fan of competition. I don't see the value in playing a cupcake game. I think you definitely need 1 or 2, especially at the beginning of the year. I think that's totally fine. But unless you lose your quarterback, like we lost Hendon Hooker in 21, playing another SEC game is just going to make your team better. And so, I'm truly all for it, especially if you're not going to be one of the teams playing in Atlanta to get that extra, that's basically a playoff prep game. Unfortunately for Georgia, they lost their quarterback in that game. So that's certainly, a factor in the argument. But I'm not going to come off my stance of believing in 9 because I think, you may have to play a South Carolina or a Missouri, and depending on the year, you may get an extra absolute gauntlet. You may, Tennessee's always probably going to have Georgia or more often than not, but maybe it's a year you wouldn't have had Georgia at 8 and you do at 9. Like, that's unfortunate. But if you go down there and if you beat Georgia, then you've basically locked yourself into the playoff. And so I think having premier wins is much more important then avoiding losses as we expand the bracket. And that's your point about the 30-game SEC baseball schedule, is that you don't even have to have a winning record. You could be 14-16.
It's interesting.
And if you've got some good series wins, you're a lock, and you know that you're prepared. But it's an interesting argument with the injuries because health is so important, and we see this in the NFL. It's not necessarily about your path. It's about who's the most healthy and where are you playing them. And if you're Miami, it's dependent on the temperature. But that's a story for a different day. But I'm totally of the belief in preparation. And you look at how good the SEC league was in basketball this year, and they all just beat the crap out of each other. And then what'd we get? An all SEC national championship. And I think you're gonna see the same stuff in football if you add another game. There will be years where you had a team that probably should have made it and got banged up a little more and had some unfortunate luck on the injury side. But you're going to have teams that are really, really prepared. And you may have a team that ends up in the 12 or 13 slot that may have been 6 or 7 without that extra loss that they had on the schedule. But they end up making a better run because they're a better overall team for playing that game than they would have been having the extra cupcake win and being that 6 or 7 seed.
Back to the phones we go. Will Heflin's in the house with us on this Monday. Bino the Great. I think those three all agree. I kind of see where the SEC is coming from, but I'm a fan of competition as well. The question for you today is, Tennessee would be much better off under an 8-game scenario to get into that tournament, that 16-team tournament annually, because the truth is they're not at the tippy top of the league. If you're at the tippy top of the league, you have nothing to worry about. You play 8, play 9, play 10. When you're kind of where we're going to fall most years, you're going to not want that much more exposure. It's just accurate. I mean, it's just the truth. So let's go to the phones and see where you fall. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air. Hello, you're welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Hey, this is Austin from Jeffco. How are you guys today?
Hey, Austin, welcome in.
Thank you, sir. Hey, so I had an idea kind of been floating around since I heard the conversation start about the 8 versus 9 game discussion.
Yep.
Wanted to throw out for the non-conference portion of the schedule. Thought it might be kind of a fun little topic for you guys to bounce around. I don't know if any of you all are familiar with like top flight European soccer, but the UEFA Champions League is like a top level competition between all the European clubs.
Yes.
I'd like to see the idea, and I think maybe you do it a year in advance, or maybe even it's how you kick off the off season so people have time to make travel plans. All bowl eligible Power 4 teams, and I guess let's say some kind of a cutoff for Group of 5, either bowl eligible or 8 wins and up teams. Put them in a lottery system, and you draw 2 teams from that every year for your non-conference. What do you guys think about that?
Bino, what do you think? Take a little something from European kickball, a la the UEFA. You're playing teams across our continent here and kind of mixing it up. Bino, what do you think?
Austin, for me, anything that beefs up the schedule is good by me.
Yeah, I like that idea, Austin. And plus, you'd add a little more flavor, because the truth is, with the non-coms, you're playing the same kind of teams annually, and they become, I don't know what the term is, kind of boring. Same old, same old. Very monotonous. Monotonous is a great term. Yes. So
I just think it would open up some like different regional options. You know, you go play teams that you wouldn't necessarily make consideration to go schedule, and just be fun to see what you get. I got to say too, with respect to the conference discussion, give me 10 games if it's up to me, but give me 9 before 8. If we got to go on the road to another SEC campus every year, that's one more fun road trip. Why not?
Thank you, brother. Really good points, man. That's do me a favor, shoot me an email on your idea. I'd like to put that in the blog and let people consider that, because I think that's a very, very, very good idea you have. And thanks for calling us in Jeff City. Let's go back to the phones on our TLD Logistics phone lines on this Monday. Hi, you're on the air. Welcome in.
How my friends and compatriots doing today?
Hey, W. Lynn, welcome in.
I've got several points to make about this. First of all, if you ask any former football players, and there's a whole group of them that have been on a Sunday morning show for years, and I know some from back in the 80s and 90s, and they will tell you football's a different sport. You have to have some hoopty games to heal. That there's no hoopty games in an SEC schedule, where the Big Ten, Big 12, ACC, they all got hoopty games built into their conference. So that's the first point. Second point is 9 out of 12 games is 75% of your schedule. 75% of a baseball schedule of 56 games, that would be 42 SEC games. Will, would that be good for the sport in the SEC? 42 SEC games.
No, that would be too many. But I think if you end up going 10 games, you're going to have to add. You're going to have to add a non-conference game too. I mean, it's 80%. That's a fair point. And to the last caller's point, the scheduling that has taken place in the non-conference has been so different based on the team, which makes it really hard to stay where they're at, because you have some teams who are just unwilling to schedule games, whereas you've got let's look at week 1 this year. You've got LSU and Clemson. Like, Tennessee is not playing in those type of games in week 1, and I don't think they should. But when you just take it out of the university's hands to schedule those, then it's equitable, right, across the board, and you're just trying to make it as balanced as possible so you can find out who's truly the best team. And that's kind of the point of the playoff system, and that, like, just the competitive nature of the sport. You're trying to figure out who the best is by the time you get to the end of the deal. And I completely agree. Football's, it's so physical, it's so taxing on the body. But compared to some other sports, like, it's a relatively condensed season. They have a bye week in there, so maybe you extend it out a little bit. I don't think anybody's going to complain if college football bleeds into February. You could have an extra bye week in the regular season. You could have an extra week in between when you play the conference championship games. Like, it's all about the money, right? And so dragging it out a little bit longer to make sure that you have the most ideal schedule, to have, the most viewership in your games and the most competition and the most balance, all of those things being a factor, then I think there's a way to come to an agreement to make it, the best it can possibly be, because it's the best sport that the college level has to offer. It's the most popular. It generates the most money. It's the most important. And so when you make these decisions, you have to treat it that way. And be open to making it better. And, if something doesn't work, you can certainly revert it back just as easily as you changed it on the front end.
He wasn't listening to you, W. Lynn, doesn't sound like.
Look, I appreciate Will. He's doing a great job. And I'm kind of combining a lot of these plans. This is the W. Lynn plan. First of all, I would play games only at night, all night games, the last 10 days of August. 7 days a week, the last 10 days, I'd start the season and play all night games due to the heat. Then I would have all the commissioners get together and Sankey tell them, this is what we're going to do. Everybody plays 8 conference games, 2 Power 4 games, which is 10, 5 home, 5 away, and then 2 group of 5. That's your 12 games. Now, your Power 4 games, this could go back to the soccer idea, cannot be made more than 2 to 3 to 4 years in advance. And what you would do is you would schedule, if you finished in the top 40, and you're making your schedule 2 years from now, you got to play a top 40 team in the Power 4, or top 25 if you want to get that. But you have 10 games that are Power 4, 8 SEC, 2, and don't make no deal with the Big Ten. Make it Big 10, Big 12, ACC. That's 10 games, 5 home like Brian wants, 5 away. And if you play in a neutral site, that counts as a home game for both of those teams. How many neutral site games do you think we'd have after that?
Well, that's a great point. And W. Lynn, we've heard some great ideas. Y'all are off and running here. I cannot wait to start hour 2 right after this.
WJBE 1040 AM, 99.7 FM.
Translator W259AB.
Powell, Knoxville.
Are you searching for a great local coffee? I'm Billy with Grade A Grounds. You can buy our freshly roasted coffee online and support a good cause with every sip. Great coffee, greater causes. Visit our website today, gradeagrounds.com.
It's the hottest post-game show on the planet. Garza Law, 5th quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
Tony Basilio, and we are live once again with Chad Stockton of FC Alliance. And Chad, you're out there on the field, 100 strong here in Knoxville. Talk to me. What's been going on with FC Alliance now that the weather's heating up?
We're out here for the first night of the boys' tryouts. We have over 400 kids that'll be here tonight. So a lot of exciting times right now for us. Our club team started at U9 and we go all the way through U19. We have over 1,000 kids that come from Chattanooga from the Tri-Cities that make all our teams and make this club what it is today. So we're excited about it. We finished the younger kids a couple of weeks ago. We just finished the girls last night, and now we're on to our older boys program as we speak right now.
And we're blowing and going in the Tri-Cities. Tell me about it.
We started FC Alliance North 1 year ago, and coming off the first year, we're the largest, most competitive club up in the Tri-Cities area. We just finished our tryouts last night. Looks like right now we will be well over 400 kids for the upcoming season. So great things happening up there. We've put our boys into some really good regional leagues. So we're excited about what the future holds for them and also our girls programs.
If you want more information, check them out at fcallianceknox.org. That's fcallianceknox.org. Chad Stockton, keep growing the beautiful game here in East Tennessee.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tony.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Listen up, baseball fans. It's time to step up to the plate and get some new Tennessee gear from Alumni Hall. Don't you dare swing and miss by shopping elsewhere. Alumni Hall has the best selection, top brands for you to choose from. Shop in store, 3 Knoxville locations, or Bristol or Murfreesboro. Anytime, online, anywhere in the world at alumnihall.com. Come grab your Tennessee baseball jerseys. Incredible. Oh, Coach Vitello's jersey, hats, decals, t-shirts, and so much more. Earn $10 in rewards for every $150 spent. Shop Alumni Hall, your ultimate Tennessee shopping destination. Go Vols from Alumni Hall. Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy. That's you.
Wow. I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care, I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn and become educated and get to know Dr. Rogers and see if it can help with your health as well.
And there's a really, really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You can see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net. TB here for Cedar Bluff Plumbing, a live and local company that's been serving our area for over 32 years and counting because every customer counts, and I mean, no job is too small. Cedar Bluff Plumbing just voted #1 by City View magazine because multiple plumbing experts are on call to serve all your plumbing needs. Chances are there'll be a plumber in your area when you call, and they won't send some salesman to your house. You're going to get a high character, trustworthy, highly trained plumber who will serve you. Not like some of these guys that look like they came off the set of America's Most Wanted. Cedar Bluff Plumbing is Basilio tested and approved and will go the extra mile for you because Chucky Mack is a servant of the people and my consigliere to the throne, celebrating over 32 years of serving living volunteers. Cedar Bluff Plumbing. Call 588-4448. That's 588-4448. Cedar Bluff Plumbing.
Attention Vol fans, are you tired of complicated, clunky fleet technology that makes your job harder? Say goodbye to frustration and hello to Connexial, your hometown partner in logistics. It's time to rev up your operations with next level fleet management from Connexial. Connexial is here to keep your business on track with technology that works as hard as you do. Our game-changing ELD gives you more than just hours of service. With AI-powered dash cameras and real-time asset tracking, you'll have eyes on the road, cargo, and your fleet from anywhere, anytime. And the best part, our friendly US-based customer support team is just one phone call away. No more long wait times or frustrating tech talk. Just real people with real solutions. With Connexial, you get a professional team you can trust and easy-to-use products that keep you on the road. What do you say, Tony?
I'm ready. Make the smart move and call Connexial today.
865-888-6920. Learn more at Connexial.com. That's Konexial.com. Drive life with Connexial and go Vols.
Basilio here, and my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair, and they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms, and I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's National Award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range. And if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery. So you're guaranteed to get a quality pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from me. Online at carnesmotor.com. Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company.
Yeehaw! Some people say betting online is still the wild, wild west. But with the VIP Play app, you're riding with the best. VIP Play app is hotter than a $2 pistol packed with flair. Live hosts and features finer than a frog hair. Send your old betting problems out of town with a slap. You'll be betting sharp as a tack on the VIP Play app.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-88-99789. Must be 21 plus and located in Tennessee to bet.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather and Kittrell Capital Management. Life is full of transitions. Planning for retirement, managing investments, or navigating major life changes. Here at Rather and Kittrell, we're here to guide you through every step. Visit rkcapital.com or call 865-218-8400 to start your journey toward financial clarity today. Rather and Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
It's always magnificent. Mondays on the Basilio Show. Presented by our friends at Fleet Tire. I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire. I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. And now, back to Boo. Incredible job by our callers in hour number one. We'll continue the conversation. Before we do, just one quick thing with Will Heflin in here. VIP Play, Will. Will, we're fired up, folks, prepared for the fall over at VIP Play. I'm fired up. You're fired up. We've got a special drawing coming up here in a few days at the end of June. But before we get there, what about this Compost guy? Compost was so bad that he got fired by Major League Baseball. Bino, in your memory, we could probably count on one hand the amount of guys in Major League Baseball with that union they have that could get fired, Bino. This Compost guy is one of them. Will, you tell me, you've seen this guy up close and personal. Tell me about this Compost guy that marred, and I mean marred, yesterday's Game 2 between Coastal Carolina and LSU. He became the story, the main character, this Compost guy. Tell me about this what's his name? Angel Compost? Tell me about him.
Angel Compost, but I kind of like Compost the way you're saying it. But, first and foremost, congratulations to LSU. They were the better team for 2 days with dominant pitching, and they were able to get the timely hits, and Coastal wasn't. And Coastal should be celebrated because that team won 26 games in a row, and with a head coach in his first year at that program, he had been there for a while as an assistant, takes over the program from legendary Coach Gilmore, and takes him on just a phenomenal run. It was really kind of anticlimactic because they were playing so well. They just cruised through and then made it to the final series. And LSU was the deeper team. That there's no, ifs, ands, or buts about that. But I think that was a series where a lot of celebration could take place and a really good tournament and reflection of the sport. And then this guy takes away from it. And now we're sitting here on the Monday after the National Championship Series talking about this dude who wants to insert himself. And, I kind of get blue in the face talking about this. People are just going to think I'm a, Karen ranter. But it's truly a problem. And to have a guy like that, and Schnall talked about it in his post game, right? He said it perfectly. He said, a grown man shooed me. Literally all he was trying to do, because it's loud and you've got 25 out of 25,000, there's probably 23,000 raging Cajuns yelling. I mean, it was an LSU home game. He's trying to walk out there and hear what this guy Angel did, which was warn the first base coach or the dugout or whatever he did. And he's just walking out there. He wants to get told what's going on, right? And have a man-to-man discussion. And he gets shooed away. And so obviously he feels a little disrespected and tells him he missed 3 and gets ejected. And it just quite literally cannot happen on that stage in the first inning of a game. Because you got to think about what's going through this guy's mind leading up to that game for this to transpire that quickly. This isn't the 7th inning, guys, when something's been building up for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
That's what Bino said,
and they've been chirping him all game long. He couldn't make out anything that he was hearing from that dugout other than maybe some grumblings on some early pitches that he may or may not have missed. He may have missed. He did miss. But irregardless, it's like this dude is going into the game with that mindset, right? He's looking for something. That's what bothers me. As an umpire, you are a mediator of the game. Your job is not just call balls and strikes out or safe. Your job is to regulate. There is no unsportsmanlike conduct. There is no technical foul. Okay. This is a game that has historically policed itself. And because you cannot throw at batters anymore and benches are it's immediate ejection if a player comes off the bench. The two teams are not going to figure it out amongst themselves anymore. If there is tension, it is quite literally your occupation as the umpire to have some calmness and take control of a situation and make sure that things are smoothed out. And they did quite literally the opposite of that. And then the other guy runs in there and trips over Angel and thinks he got shoved by Schnall. It was a joke.
And then he said because he can't control himself and lost his center of balance, Bino, he gets up and says that's an extra 2 games for you because he fell over Angel compost, Bino. And anybody can slip on the compost. I've done it before. My father grew mushrooms. And let me tell you something. You get around the compost when it's hot and wet like that, anybody can slip on the compost. Bino, how about him standing up and then saying, that's an extra 2 games for you? Like he's a cop saying, that's a charge. That's another charge for you. That's another charge.
Yeah, I've embarrassed myself here. You're out of here.
You're suspended for 2 more games.
Tony, we could sit on here all day and rant and complain because it really is a problem. And that was kind of a reflection of the year we had in college baseball, not just for Tennessee. We need to go back and look at how many total ejections there were in the NCAA tournament because it was an abnormally high amount. So here's what we need to do. We need to offer a solution because the problem is that nothing will happen, right? They'll do nothing to these guys and there's no real accountability. But there's got to be a way that we can make the umpires who call the most meaningful games of the year have to earn it the same way that the teams do. And I'm sure there's some way where they, maybe decide who they think is the best, or maybe it's based on TrackMan, whose umpires are the most accurate. But there's got to be more into that. And there, it almost needs to come from the coaches to where they maybe do a poll and figure out who's the best we got in terms of talent to officiate these games that matter the most and move this thing forward because it was a real issue this year. And it's really, really sad that this is what we're talking about.
It's your major
and it's quite frankly
event.
embarrassing for a sport that's now on national television. There's more people following it. It's a higher level because more high-end prospects are coming to college. There's
unreal.
NIL money involved.
It's unreal.
There's a lot into this, and it needs to get better.
Bino, here's my thing. This compost guy, when he was in Major League Baseball, was known as being a guy with rabbit ears. Will, you were telling me that's his reputation among pitchers in college baseball, and you've had this guy before. You've seen him in action. Didn't he interject himself the year you guys went to the College World Series in the middle of your regional? Another time and place thing. Tell us what happened there.
Luckily, it wasn't Tony or Frank. It was the Liberty pitching coach and head coach, and it was the Saturday game. So the winners bracket, we were both 1-0. They got ejected for, I guess, arguing balls and strikes. I don't remember the situation entirely. I think the head coach was back for the regional final because Liberty ended up coming out of the losers bracket, and we had to beat them again in the regional final, the game that I started. And their head coach was back, but they didn't have their pitching coach for that game because any assistant, it's automatic suspension or whatever. But you just don't see coaches being ejected in other sports nearly as often. Like, it's way more common.
It's silly.
In baseball. It's
College
really,
baseball
really,
silly.
It's really an issue.
It's
and
silly.
Schnall talked about it. They treat them like second graders. And I just don't understand why we can't have, conversations like men or implement some sort of in-game penalty for an unsportsmanlike conduct, because that would make it police itself much better. You give out a ball, or the guy you have at the plate is out or something like that if you get an unsportsmanlike. But there needs to just be, some sort of clarity, because it's like, oh, well, this guy has rabbit ears, so he ejects a dude in the first inning, and some guys will tolerate much more. It's just it's too case by case. It's too wishy-washy.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't he also, the regional Tennessee was involved with Clemson, didn't he throw their star player out of a game? Or am I imagining that?
No, he did. It was Cam Canarella. It was 2 years later after that 21 regional. So it was in 2023. Threw him out in the losers bracket game. He's their best player, clutch,
Who
center
does
field
that?
hitter.
Bino, how could you as a sport let a guy that is that flammable and that volatile be behind the plate yesterday in that baseball game. It's one thing for him to be on that crew. How could they ever assign that nut job that spot there, Bino? Please explain that to me. Because that's a total embarrassment for college baseball. Totally
He shouldn't be on the
embarrassing.
crew, period, Tony. He shouldn't be on the crew, period. Nowhere close to Omaha. Hey, I've got a rating metrics for you here. If you've been fired from an organization that C.B. Buckner and Angel Hernandez were allowed to continue working, you suck.
To the phones we go. To the phones we go. It's your, like Will Heflin saying, you probably have 4 times the eyeballs on that game yesterday than you would most other game. And we're going to take this stooge. Who's a stooge? Angel Compost is a stooge. And we're going to put him behind the plate, knowing this is a guy that can't get along with people. Knowing that. I mean, the Schnall guy looked at him when he said you're out of the game and he could not believe he could not believe it.
This was on ABC, which is
it's
over the air network.
Unbelievable.
Not just ESPN, ABC.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I mean, like Bino said, here's the thing. As a lifelong fan of Major League Baseball and somebody who follows the big league level, when you get thrown out of that level, as strong as their union is, Richie Phillips back in the day, and they grew that, and probably one of the strongest unions in the entire world. Because Bino's right. If they throw you out, it means you below on 10 continents, ladies and gentlemen. Places that haven't even been discovered yet. Back to the phones we go. Our discussion regarding the number of SEC football games to play is critical to our enjoyment, but also might be critical to the number of times we see our Tennessee Volunteers over the next 10 years when they go to 16 teams get in to the tournament at the end of the year. And Will Heflin's asking, do you want to get in or do you want to have a team that's prepared to do damage once you get in? He argues the more SEC games you play, the better your football team is by the end of the year. W. Lynn was arguing the more SEC games you play by the end of the year, the more ground up you'll be. I don't know. Is it better to stay at 8 with that in mind? That's what I think the league's considering doing that by the reporting around this last week. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, Tony, it's Orange Blood. How's it going?
Hey, welcome in.
Hey, can you imagine if our football games had officials with the delicate sensibilities that our baseball program has?
I mean,
imagine Heupel or somebody at kickoff, they see something happen at kickoff, and they're in the umps or the ref's face, and then they're out of the game.
Yeah, I don't even know what the equivalent of that is. Like, that was so bizarre yesterday. And you know, Kyle Peterson and those guys try to be very diplomatic on there because you got to work around these people and you got to work with them. And those umpires, they have to rely on for information. Kyle Peterson's like, there's nothing in the first inning you could have done if I was an umpire to throw you out of a game. Nothing. Like, I'm not doing it. So, yeah, it's a great point on your part. How you let a guy that close to that thing, it's Angel Compost's deal, but really the person who's responsible for allowing him to get in that spot, it's really something they should be answering for today because that's a disgrace.
Yeah, it is. They gotta give the game time to get going, and they can't just like we saw it in the SEC championship tournament. You know, on the final game there, the refs coming out there before the first pitch is even thrown. It's basically like a boxing referee saying, "Okay, no low blow. You know, none of this, none of that. We're not going to tolerate it." You know, they're kind of setting the tone and making a little dramatic.
A show. Yeah, like when they warned, who was it they warned, Will? One of our pitchers, was it Phillips? Why is that in my brain? They warned Phillips like the first inning, and Tony's like, what? Tony's screaming from the dugout. The equivalent of that is the umpire would have thrown Tony out. That's because that's what happened yesterday. Was it Phillips?
I think, if you're talking about the SEC tournament, yeah, the 2024 SEC tournament, Phillips got a little riled up. Unless you're thinking of a different.
I'm thinking of a game this year. No, it happened this year.
It happened this year too.
Oh, this year we got warned after Zach Root lost his mind for getting Andrew Fisher to ground into a double play.
There you go. Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Sort of a preemptive strike by the officials. Anyway, let me weigh in on this 9 versus 8.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
And you just laid out, WLN and Bino and everybody else has done. They've expressed the concerns, and to me, it's like a cost-benefit analysis. And they look at it similar to me, but I'm going to break it down financially. Just for us west of Nashville over here, imagine trying to go to an additional SEC game, upper levels with a family of 4. That's not me. I'm single. I could probably afford a one-time-a-year trip. But you look at the cost of upper level tickets now that Danny Dimes is selling those off to the ticket companies,
which is what he's doing.
A family of 4 is going to spend at least $800 and 5 hours or more of a drive up there, and have to get a hotel, tickets, food, everything else that's associated with it, and take kids to a game that should be fun to watch. Could be fun to watch if it's an SEC team. Yeah, it could be even better in some cases. But look at the money they got to spend to do that, and then look on the other side and look at what Danny is looking at more revenue. How much do we pay these teams, non-conference teams, to come play on average? $1 million? $1.5 million?
I think it's like 600,000 or 800,000. It depends on the team.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's say even that, which is still pocket change compared to the overall revenue. But still look at the cost benefit of adding an SEC team that will bring in a lot more revenue, probably for ticket prices and everything else that's associated with that. And they don't have to spend that $600,000, writing a check to somebody to buy a W. So as a fan, I think it hurts us, those who want to take a relatively, affordable trip, even if we're somebody single. And like I said, I'm thinking more for people west of Nashville. Nashville and east, it's probably a little easier to make that trip in a day, even if it's a night game. But overall for the program, I think it would be better to have an extra SEC opponent. However, we just saw with Indiana, like you said, and other teams, they get kind of lenient with that ranking. And if they're treating everybody with the same way and there's no bias with your strength of schedule, then why not keep it like it is?
Yeah, I think what happened was they were going to go to 9, but they went into that room. This is the reporting around it. And they saw that component. They saw that new criteria that they're going to use. And look, the new criteria haven't been signed off yet, but it looks like it's going to be. And the SEC went, wait a second here. Why would we go to 9 when 8 would satisfy this? And the goal is going to be at the end of a 5+11 to get as many of those at-large spots, because that's where the real money is. The conference that sops up the more teams is going to sop up the extra gravy that's laying there. And that's the goal. The goal is to get as much gravy in your wagon to take back and to split so that, the Vanderbilts of the world can get that much of a bigger check. And, the 8-game schedule, fans are paying for it. To Bino's point, and it is a naked ripoff. Bino, playing 3 kicking scrimmages a year and charging full price for that is an absolute naked ripoff, is it not? Right before our very eyes, Beanstar?
Well, sure, Tony. That's that's 3 out of 7 or 3 out of 8 games that you've paid to go over there to watch. I totally understand the opportunity that it gives for, like the Amachi tailgate that you've done such a great job with, and they've done such a great job with.
Yeah, and getting kids in there for their first time. That's right.
I absolutely understand that. I just don't think it takes 3 or 4 of them to make that happen.
That's probably true.
No.
So
yeah,
what?
I just looked at Tennessee, Texas, LSU, and Alabama's schedule for this year.
Yep.
And it's like a standoff. Nobody's going to make the first move unless the league makes the decision for them, because they're all scheduling 3 what I would call cupcake games.
No question. And 2 of those teams don't need them. You could say that we could use them, no question.
Mm-hmm.
There is no reason that Florida should have the schedule they have and we have the schedule we have. And I'm not a Florida fan, but nobody with a straight face could tell me that that's equitable, what happened to them last year and what happened to us. But there will be years, if you stay at 8, there will be years where the worm will turn on you. So you have to make hay. When you're in the scheduling window we're in right now, and if they stay at 8, that's going to be the mantra going forward. The years where the sun shines on you and you're at Tennessee, you got to get to 10 wins and you got to get in that tournament, because it's going to be very difficult. When they throw Oklahoma's schedule last year at us, which they will, it's going to be very difficult for us to get to that tournament at the end of the year. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, we're going to be splitting hairs, coming to the playoff ranking.
Oh, no doubt.
They're
no doubt.
End of November, and we're going to end up with people like Alabama and them who think they should have went.
Yeah, and Alabama last year. And listen, I appreciate the call. Thank you. I mean, Bino, he brings up a really good point. But these scheduling windows, how you can have something that inequitable in the same league, I guess that just goes to show you there are just too many teams in this deal. There are too many teams in these leagues.
Yeah, there are, Tony. There's no way to make it equitable anymore. You would have to go to that 10-game schedule that Brian's talking about to even come close. 9's not going to do it either. All 9 is going to do is put a more attractive game on the schedule for fans. It's not going to make it any more equitable. The only way you're ever going to get equity in this league anymore is to add about 4 more, split it into 2 groups of 10, and play everybody in your side, and don't play anybody in the other side.
Really, what they ought to do is go absorb 4 of those old Southwest Conference teams, Bino, and put the old Big 12 or the old Southwest Conference back together. Take the Arkansas and the Texas schools and put them all together. Put Missouri over there with them. Let them have their own league and give us our old league back.
Give my old Hindy and my old SEC back, and I'll be happy.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think it would make the deal better if they did that. But that's not what they're waiting for. They're waiting for North Carolina. They're waiting so they can pull North Carolina loose of that deal. Maybe Jordan Hudson will help broker the deal. She seems to. Some of the reporting that came out of that thing over the weekend, these emails that the Raleigh paper got, my gosh. Maron. We'll go back to our phones at 865-200-5402. Hey, VIP Play, well, there's no reason when I look over at VIP Play that Florida's sitting there with a 6.5 win total, other than the fact that their schedule's like impossible this year. Which it is. It's ignorant, that schedule they have to play.
I don't see Will in here anymore, Tony Bay.
Back to the phones we go. Well, Will's a loser. Who cares? Hello and welcome into our next call. You're on the air.
Tony, Bino, Taylor.
There he is.
Hey, just a quick point of clarification, Tony. I hold no water for the officials, but I was at Arkansas. By the way, beautiful stadium, beautiful field. I'd love to see if there's a better playing surface in college baseball. Perhaps there is. I'd love to see it. Impeccable. The fans are kind of weird. The calling of the Hogs.
I love that stuff.
Very odd.
I love that stuff. It's so weird.
Very odd.
Yes.
The 10-gallon rally hats that they wear, beer hats,
so
are
stupid.
Exceptionally weird.
So stupid.
But anyway. But I'll tell you, those fans love their baseball. But real quick, Tony, the warning in Arkansas.
That's what it was.
Here's why Tennessee got a warning. Vitello went absolutely ballistic when he saw Root do what he did and not get a warning. So he went out on the field, raised holy Cain with the officials. So they huddled and then rightfully gave Root a warning, which they should have done before Vitello went out. And they gave Tennessee a warning for Vitello's antics. So I just wanted to clarify that. I don't know if that was shown on television. I can promise you Vitello deserved a warning after his response to Root. And then Vitello even said later, he said, look, I think I had PTSD. He said, I was upset that they didn't give Root a warning based on what's happened to our team. But obviously those are different officials, a different crew, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, just to clarify that, we deserved our warning based on what happened. But talking about Angel Campos, that was an atrocity, and I am so glad that some of the absolute best of the national media have absolutely lit him up like a Christmas tree, and deservedly so. I wonder if Berkey, after things calm down, would go on record. I think he will, because I think, if I recall in the broadcast, he was pretty – I know KP was exceptionally critical of Campos, but you can't do that. Here's the thing, right? I know officials don't want to hear chirping from any coach other than the head coach. But when you give a warning to the first base coach, certainly the Coastal Carolina head coach had a right to understand what happened. And most officials, if they're not all about themselves, would have taken a moment and met him halfway or walked over to the head coach and say, hey, first base coach has a warning for arguing balls and strikes. We're done with that. No more. That would have been the end of it, Tony. But instead, he motioned him back like the coach said, like a little child. And, Coastal Carolina said, you missed 3 pitches, which was absolutely true. If you've seen any replays, a couple of those pitches he missed were pretty egregious. But the whole point, Tony, is it's simple communication. Campos could have simply acknowledged the head coach, explained to him why they got a warning, and moved on. I think that would have been the end of it. But instead, he had a big ego. He made it all about him. And it's a shame that they marred the national championship series. Everyone's talking about the horrific officials instead of the actual game.
And that's sad, right? Because as Heflin said, you've got, even if that team from Coastal gets whacked yesterday, you can still look at them and go, man, they won 25 out of 27 games. Their manager's over there in the dugout. They get to finish the game with him. This guy managed the game properly. They just didn't hit in the championship series. It's baseball. Those kind of things happen. LSU wins their 8th title. But this moron, and that's what he is. He threw like 50 guys out of games in Major League Baseball. Those Major League Baseball umpires, in many cases, Bino, I think that guy has like 44 or 46 career ejections at that level, and he wasn't at that level all that tremendously long. That's a lot of people to have thrown out of Major League Baseball games, Beanstar. I mean, this guy has a quick trigger. He has no business, Taylor, being behind the plate in that spot yesterday. It's totally embarrassing, completely embarrassing. And it's a bad look for their sport. You can't grow your sport like that, Taylor. Who wants to look at that?
Well, yeah, Tony, and I was at Clemson when that same clown threw out Cam, the center fielder for Clemson, and I'm on record after that. Not that it's about me, but I said after that was a joke, that there's no way he should have been thrown out for chirping to Zane Denton, who was out at second base, especially under those circumstances, right? The higher the level of game, yep. So if the higher the stakes, you need as an official to give more grace and more leniency to the coaches, even in the players, but certainly the head coach. You certainly don't have rabbit ears and a short fuse and allow your ego to take over the game. That was an atrocity.
It's gross.
And Angel Campos should never officiate another game. That was egregious.
Hey, Bino, do you think that they're going to let this Campos guy get more assignments?
Well, I mean, you guys have run down his track record, and not only do they seem to be still using him, they're moving him up in level of importance. So, yeah, I'd say he'd be right back there next year.
He literally took Clemson's best player in that regional where we beat them, and for nothing, because I was watching that game. It's like a Sunday morning game where they got beat, and there was like 25 people there. He just threw him out of the game because he felt like it. I mean, that's who this dude is, Taylor.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And then, of course, the head coach for Clemson took Billy Amick out of the game in the ninth inning, which helped us because I think the next game went 13, or the game prior went 13 innings. Are you sure the Cam throwout was not the same game that went into extra innings? I don't recall.
No, it wasn't. It was the next game, and it was
the elimination game.
Yeah, the elimination game.
Last thing on the way out.
You know
Tony,
what? You know what? Thinking about that, you might be right. It might have happened in our game. I think it might have happened in our game.
Yeah.
I think it might have happened in our game. Come to think about it, I think you're right. Which is even worse. Tennessee and Clemson are playing each other. Again, we're back to this. I'm going to interject myself in the middle of this. It's just really odd that you would put a guy in there that obviously has a problem processing in the moment.
Well, he let the game speed up on him as an official, as an umpire, and he's got an ego problem. He needs to be gone. Last thing, Tony, on the way out, here's what I don't understand, and Bino would love you to – I was going to ask Will as well, but everybody, me included, have made a big deal of the baseball roster cap, if you will, to 34 beginning next season. Well, I refreshed my memory. Prior to COVID, the limit was 35. So historically, all they've done is reduce the roster from 35 to 34. And as a reminder for the newly initiated, the expansion to 40 was simply because of COVID. Since you gave everybody that was impacted as an athlete an extra year who was impacted for the 2020 season, which was canceled, they had to allow room on rosters to accommodate those folks. So they increased it from 35 to 40. And now COVID, there's no more impact based on the 2020 lost season. They've gone back, instead of 35, they've gone back to 34. And then they've said, hey, no more 11.7. You can, at your own choosing, fully scholarship fund 34 scholarships. So what am I missing, Tony? And then this fall, I know the Coaches Association talked about 38 for the fall roster, and then the reality is I don't think that's been officially voted on or implemented. So right now, I think as it goes today, there's no restrictions on fall rosters. You just have to be down to 34 by December 1, which, again, that's one less than traditionally has been allowed. I don't see what the big uproar is. The last thing I would say out the door, D1 Baseball did a great analysis of college baseball rosters, and essentially there were really no more than 23 to 25 players. That's pitchers and position players that got any meaningful innings for the entire season. So I think all it means is eventually when they cap the fall roster, right? So instead of having 52 people go in the fall and then they get cut, they're going to eventually put a number around that. But the reality is it's one roster spot difference than we've had historically. Tony, love y'all's baseball coverage, GBO.
Don't tell Tony that. Hey, Bino, these coaches are like a lot of people. It's kind of like a temporary tax, which is never temporary. When you give them 5 or 6 extra spots to play with and it becomes a law of the land, they want more. So if I take your roster to 41, I want 45. I think where the rubber meets the road is, and I could be wrong on this, under the current format, when you opt into rev sharing, there are no more walk-ons. There are no more expanded rosters. So in other words, I can't keep 10 kids around. I think, Taylor, this is the rub. I can't keep 10 kids around that didn't make my roster. under the guise of, I'm going to grow you for next year. At least that's what's told to me. Now, I could be being spun. I know enough about it to be dangerous, like a lot of us do that are late to the party. But that's a very interesting little nuggie that you've dug up there. Something tells me these people are going to manage and are going to figure out a way to, because they're all going to have to, and all things are going to be equal anyway. 865-200-5402. Timing in sports. Timing is really interesting. We're going to discuss that when we continue, and it involves Bino Jeff Henderson. As we come back on the other side, it is your Monday edition.
Guests appear on the TLD Logistics Hotline. Online at tldlogistics.com.
Whether it's baseball, football, softball, church groups, or schools, if you're raising money, do it with locally roasted Grade A Grounds coffee. I'm Billy Miller, a Vol alum and Knoxville native. You keep 40% of sales, and we donate 5% back to our East Tennessee community. Get started today by visiting our website at gradeagrounds.com.
Since 2001, Pipe Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling has been the trusted and preferred name for over 70,000 Knoxville locals looking for expert plumbing services and HVAC services, including repairs, replacements, or maintenance. Voted best plumber in Knoxville and one of Knoxville's best HVAC companies 7 years in a row. Pipe Wrench is a fully licensed mechanical contractor and committed to excellence and craftsmanship, so you can trust our certified experts to go above and beyond to meet your plumbing and HVAC needs, no matter what problem arises. We also make it easy with transparent pricing, free on-site estimates for replacements, and free second opinions on repairs. And if budgets are tight, we offer flexible payment plans including 0% financing when credit approved. Be sure to ask about our 10-plus year warranties that are 2 times longer than industry standards, so you don't spend a cent on unexpected costs in the future. So call Pipe Wrench at 865-264-8090 or look online at pipewrench.com to schedule your appointment today. And as always, same-day service guaranteed, or the visit is free.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Life never stops moving, and between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up, a tire designed for doers, a tire that's going to last, like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire. Basilio here for Budget Transmissions. TGMD, the great Matt Dixon, took his Ford Escape to budget, and like our gold bullet back in the day, it was a total mess. And now, Matt's back in the game. He's got a new transmission, axle, wheel bearing, both radiator hoses, engine mounts, coolant hoses. I mean, his Ford Escape was about to escape to the junkyard, but he didn't begrudge it. He took it to budget, and now he's on his way back to Omaha. Budget Transmissions, over 30 years in business, conveniently located in Bearden. All extended service contracts are honored. A gold certified Repair Pal member. 865-584-4391. 865-584-4391. Budget Transmissions. Don't begrudge it. Take it to budget.
Hi there, Basilio crew. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. If you're thinking about selling your home, I've got good news for you. The East Tennessee and Knoxville areas are projected to have another strong year. I'll be happy to talk with you about the latest and greatest info you need. So give me a call at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. Hope to hear from you soon, and go Vols.
Tony B here with the great Zakai Ziegler for
Hey,
Advent.
whoa. Tony, I got this. Hey, Tennessee, it's Easy here. Next time you have an electric issue at your home or business, call my friends at Advent Electric. With offices in Knoxville and Nashville, it's Mama's Easy approved.
You heard it from the most electrifying player in the league. Call the service professionals at Advent Electric, 865-588-0631. Online, adventelectric.com. Tell them ZZ sent you. It's always magnificent. Mondays on the Basilio Show, presented by our friends at Fleet Tire. I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. And now, back to B. Tony B, back with you. If you're a Moroccan and you're a fan of the Morocco soccer team / football team, chances are you're a brain donor. No offense. The scenes up in Philadelphia yesterday couldn't even have been, well, they couldn't be produced by Eagle fans. So kudos to you. For those of you that haven't seen, I would encourage you to head over to the social media. Look at Jeff Skoversky's profile. Bino, your thoughts on the scenes there with the Moroccans?
Well, first of all, I'm wondering how you can get into a stadium with flares or whatever
Yeah, that's what
they have.
do. Yeah, they're notorious flare burners during games. I went to a World Cup qualifier in 2004, I want to say. No, it wasn't a qualifier. It was a warm-up match before they went off, for the U.S. went off and did one of their many disappointing finishes at the World Cup. And they, almost lit an end zone on fire. So I'm glad to see that their fans have multi-generations of arsonists that show up for sporting events and continue to do what they're doing. Bino's about to heat it up here with a great story for you, presented by our friends at VIP Play. Easy for me to say. Your VIP Play welcome bonus is yours. You bet $5 or more, $100 in bonus bets instantly. Boom. Be there. Promo code TNTony. They are going to draw at the end of the month. Huge grand prize. Every bet you make goes into the Players Club sweepstakes. Remember, everybody's treated like a VIP player. 25% on Major League Baseball games. Their profit parlay boost. They also have futures up there in the NFL and in college. And 200 leagues around the world. Numerous types of bets. Tennis, golf, anything you want to bet on, NASCAR, you name it, they've got it. And if you can't find the bet you're looking for, Robert Killer Kowalski and VIP Play will create it for you. Why? Because everybody gets treated like a VIP. And if you have a gambling problem, 800-889-9789, 21 and over in the state of Tennessee to place a bet. Bino, time and place. You're about to be in the right time and the right place. But you got something else for us. Go for it.
Yeah, a couple of things, Tony. First off, I mean, they should have that Angel Compost or whatever his name is at the gate there in Philly. Let him throw some people out before they get to their seat, sounds like. If I've told this before already, Tony, then I apologize. I'm an old man. I don't think I have. But Taylor kind of jogged my memory when he was talking about Zach Root. First game of the College World Series, LSU and Arkansas. I went into it thinking LSU's won enough. I'm going to pull for Arkansas in this game. Tuned it in. As soon as I saw Zach Root on the mound, I knew there was absolutely no way I could do it. I said, no, I'm not for Arkansas. I'm pulling for LSU here. I called my brother after the game, and I'm talking to him, and I said, man, I went in that game. I was going to pull for Arkansas, but I just could not pull for Zach Root. He said, you know something? I did the exact same thing. I changed midstream just like that. He said, to make matters worse, after the game was over, he said, I'm looking at a Major League Baseball draft projection, and the Yankees don't pick until the 39th pick of the first round. And with the 39th pick of the first round, the Yankees are going to take Zach Root. And I thought, oh, gosh, that sounds about right. All right, into my trip here, Tony, and my good fortune. I plan to go watch the Yankees play in Cincinnati. Basically, since the schedule came out, I think I bought these tickets in early April. Going to go up for the Tuesday and Wednesday evening game. And a couple of days ago, while I'm out of town, Joshy Boy sends me something off of X that the Reds are gonna call up Chase Burns, and he's gonna make his MLB debut against the Yankees on Tuesday night. How beautiful is that?
I mean, it's utterly incredible. And here's the thing about Chase Burns. Some people remain bitter, whatever, that he left. I don't, because the portal giveth and the portal taketh away. I wish that kid a lot of luck. The truth is, he's the 8th member, Bino, of that super team. The 8th member to make Major League Baseball. And we haven't even accounted yet for Kavaris Tears, Drew Beam, Blake Burke, and maybe Jared Dickey as well. So that, if you get 10 guys off one college baseball roster to make the major leagues, you know how hard it is to make the major leagues. And Bino, for you to be in the right place at the right time, and I've let all that burn stuff go. I'm happy for him. I hope he has a great career.
Tony, I hope he has a great career as well. I'm not bitter. Now, I don't mix my fandoms.
No, I don't either.
I don't mix my fandoms.
I don't either.
So I hope he has a great career. But Tuesday night, I hope he lives up to his name and he gets chased in about the second inning.
Well, the Phillies, ironically enough, and you can't make this up, but the Phillies, ironically enough, had a chance to compete against Tidwell Friday, and he lasted like 3 1/3, and I was cheering for my Phillies because that's who I am. Now I'm happy that he's there, and I hope Blade Tidwell has a he's a good kid. He came to one of Roger's birthday parties, if you remember that. We were out.
He sure did.
King.
He absolutely did.
And
along with Vitello.
Yeah, I'll always have a soft spot for that.
Yes.
Even at that, though, I was cheering for my Phillies, just like Bino's going to cheer for his. But Bino can also and I was happy for him in the moment because he's in that spot right now where he's like an 8th starter for the Mets, so they shuffle him between AAA and the majors, and one of those 40-man guys, Bino, that they use in kind of a taxi situation. I forget what the term is with I've got it in the blog today with the major league guys, but they kind of shuttle them back and forth. The Phillies have been doing that as well with one of their young arms that pitched this weekend. But good for Chase Burns, good for Blade Tidwell. 8 of those guys right now have played Major League Baseball, which is just
fantastic.
It's an incredible number. To the radio listener, we're about to leave. We do have some calls we're going to get to. We're going to do some TLD logistics, overdrive, overtime, not much, because it's the end of June. And what are you doing, Tony? I don't know. But we'll do some of that. We'll knock some of that out and then get along our merry way. But to the radio listener, I love you. I appreciate you. I thank you. We thank you for being with us. Matt Dixon will be in the house tomorrow. We got some other surprises for you. We're going to play off the Big Ten and the SEC on the field tomorrow and see how much better our league is than their league. We'll do that. In the meantime, we love you. We appreciate you. Peace.
WJBE 1040 AM, 99.7 FM.
Translator W259 AB.
Powell, Knoxville.
Because it's about that time for us to say...
It's TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime, presented by TLD Logistics. Online at tldlogistics.com.
Congratulations to Connexio Kristen. Birth of
And
a
now
beautiful
let's go
daughter.
to the guys with today's edition of TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime.
Kristen, we love you. Congratulations on the birth of your daughter. We celebrate life around here. Precious miracle it is. Today's show, very interesting. Tennessee got the number one player, Bino, Henry Ford, out of the transfer portal. And in true Tony Basilio fashion, I've got to apologize to Anthony's girlfriend, because she told me over the weekend, she said she's a Virginia graduate, sports fan, okay? And I told her that Henry Ford committed to Tennessee. And I mentioned this on Friday's show. I said, big news is coming. That's who I was talking about. But in true Tony Basilio fashion, Bino, she says, yeah, she says, you know, he is from Charlottesville. And I said, no, he's from Chattanooga. And she just looked at me and said, okay. And as it turns out, Bino, he actually went to the Baylor School in Chattanooga for 2 years, but he's actually a Virginia kid. So, Anthony, M, all involved, I remain a moron. Talking to Laura yesterday, she said, no, he's actually from there, but he went there to the school. I said, why didn't you correct me? She said, nah, you were on a roll, Bino. Let's go to the phones.
Love it.
And
what are our chances of keeping him, Tony? Keeping him
very good
from
very good
signing?
Very good.
Okay, good.
Reason being his power went down this year. And my understanding is that I think another year in the deal would help him. Now, look, it only takes one to fall in love and somebody grabs him high. But the expectation is he'll be a mid-round pick who will want to come back and improve his stock. So I think
excellent.
I think they feel pretty good about him. He's the number one ranked player in the portal, and for good reason. Tennessee beat a who's who cornucopia list of schools for him. So hello and welcome into our next call here on TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime, our overtime segment. You're on the air. Hi.
Hey, what's up, guys? Joshy boy.
Wings.
So, is that the same guy who got tossed out of the College World Series, Angel Compost, who, is that Angel Hernandez? Or is that his brother or something?
Bino, I'll let you tackle that one.
He's he's in that realm, Joshy boy.
Now, what does that mean, Bino? That's like racist. You saying because he's like a Hispanic guy?
No. He's in the same realm as Angel Hernandez and C.B. Buckner as far as ability to do his job.
They're horrendous umpires. But no, Josh, I don't think Angel Compost, who I want to call Jorge Compost, who used to play for Columbia back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh, Jorge Compost was a great goalie back in the day. Great goalkeeper. Yeah, I'll tell you this, Joshy boy, that they would let that guy get in that moment, get in that spot, makes their sport look very Mickey Mouse.
That guy's certainly a brain donor and shouldn't be officiating college baseball.
No doubt about it.
Yeah. So, Bino, what do you think about you getting to see Chase Burns make his debut tomorrow in the Great American Ballpark against your Yankees?
I'm looking forward to it, Joshy. I just think that's a tremendous stroke of luck for me to be there on the night that he makes his debut.
Bino, the way the Yankees are going, will they rip him apart?
Probably not, Tony. They probably wouldn't rip me apart.
I'd say Chase is going to rack up some strikeouts tomorrow.
Interesting.
But like you and Bino were saying, I still support the guy even though he left us after his junior year. I have no ill will towards him.
I will always consider him a Vol, my friend. Chase Burns is a Vol. He's a mid-state kid.
Yep.
He's a Vol. He was, kind of a Vol for a minute or whatever, but I no ill will toward him at all.
Yeah, same. So, Tony, do you and Bino, do you have like very low expectations for this Tennessee football team this year?
Bino?
I think this is an 8 or 9 win football team, Josh, and I think looking at their schedule, when I pick it here in a month or so, I expect to predict that they're going to win 9 football games if nothing unforeseen comes up.
I mean, 8 or 9 wins isn't a bad season, and what do you think about this season, Tone?
Well, that's what you get with Josh Heupel, man. He's a high-floor coach. High-floor coach. We just don't know what his ceiling is. But
he takes underrated teams here and turns them into a pretty good season.
Well, it's just, his style of play. He would have to really, really, really run out of players. I think it's interesting that offensively is the issue right now for him. Because they've done well defensively. They're turning out professional football players defensively. His defensive staff recruits extremely well, much better than his offensive staff does. It's really strange, guys. It's he's having a strange tenure so far. Hard to get my handle around Josh Heupel.
Right. Hey, Tony, it can either be in person or from what you've seen on Twitter or on TV. What do you think the worst thing is that the Philadelphia Eagles fans have done to like opposing teams or fans at games?
I saw some crazy things growing up, but probably the worst thing I saw them did is they got the old Redskin mascot, the unofficial mascot of the Redskins, which is back in the day, the black guy that wore the headdress. Bino, do you remember him, the guy that used to show?
I do. Yes.
In the old 700 level in the vet, they got that guy on the ground, and they poured sugary soda all over him, basically tore his clothes and put the feathers all over him. I mean, pretty unique place. And then there was when they played the Vikings, the year the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2017, they made their fans outside walk a gauntlet. And but it doesn't stop there with the Eagle fans. These people are real morons now. They chant EAGLES all the time at Phillies games, and it pisses us Philly fans off because it's totally disrespectful to the Phillies to do that. But they're meatheads. Eagle fans, no offense, are a bunch of damn meatheads. I guess there was one more I was wanting to share, and my mind escapes me, but let's go back to the phones. Oh, Joshy boy, sometimes it's funny, the things they do, like the day in the late 80s, early 90s when they had the what they called the Bounty Bowl up there in Philadelphia, when they pelted, I guess they called their ice bowl, but when they threw snowballs and ice balls, and those young kids were going to the dressing room to pack ice balls so they could fire them at Jimmy Johnson. Bino, what do you think of them? Or the time Booger McFarland was up on the Booger Mobile and they had to get him off because people were like firing stuff at him, Bino, when they were moving Booger along the sidelines during a Monday night game. You don't think it goes to some brain donors up there, do you, Bino?
I don't think they've got a patent on that, Tony. But yeah, that's I don't think much of that, to be quite honest.
I can't stand them. No, they get on my nerves. And by the way, the Morocco fans said, "Hold my beer. We're going to light your end zone on fire. We're going to delay a game. Hold our Cosmo, Eagle fans. You ain't seen nothing yet, baby." Hello and welcome into our next call. You're on the air.
Basilio's Jeff.
Proving that there are working payphones still in East Tennessee. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, Basilio, Bobby. I don't know how I compete with that last phone call. It was excellent work by him. Let me tell you.
Yep.
I don't like how many quarters did he go through?
No telling. No telling.
Interesting. Yeah, you were talking about the living brain donors. You can do that as a Phillies fan, but as any other fan base, I'm being sincere here, would you take offense to people saying that about Phillies or Eagles or what have you?
No, Eagle fans, I can't. No, Eagle fans
okay.
really annoy the hell out of me. They piss me off, in fact.
You're serious, even though you're an Eagles fan. That's interesting.
I'm 1,000% serious. I don't think there's a time and a place to act like you're a Florida football fan in the 90s toward people. When I go to community is a big part of why I love sports, and because you wear a different jersey doesn't give me the right to treat you in a subhuman fashion. I find that off-putting, disgusting, repulsive, reprehensible, uncivilized. Mm-hmm. It's disgusting behavior to me.
I actually really respect that, man. Just for whatever it's worth to you. Not that it should matter, but because I think other Tennessee fans get away with a little too much sometimes too, personally.
Well, that's why I call our Twidiots out. Our Twidiots, when they attacked Chipper Jones over something he did not do, and then Tony had to call him and apologize to him. Tony Vitello picked the phone up because of some of you morons 3 weeks ago and literally called Chipper and said, "Hey, man, no hard feelings. I don't know where that's coming from." And Chipper said, Chipper told Tony, because Tony mentioned it on here. Chipper said, "I'm just kind of surprised that's, he said, these people were basically digging up my personal life. Like, what in the world?"
Interesting. Well, I have a kind of a question / statement for you, Tony. Angel Campos does not need even umpire a high school game anymore. Do you guys agree with this or not? You can't have guys that are that me in that profession. You just simply can't. I don't care what level it is. Do you agree with that?
Bino, what do you think?
I think that high school is exactly where he should be.
Okay, fair enough.
Where he wouldn't, where he'd be out of sight and out of mind. There wouldn't be any camera on him. That's probably the level that he could do his job at effectively.
For him to escalate that quickly, I don't know that I've ever seen anything like that in my life. In a championship game?
Yeah. And, AP went all in on the broadcast and basically said what I just said, is that guy shouldn't be umpiring at this level anymore. And I was hoping Burke would. Berkey's far too classy to go all in on a guy. But in Berkey's way, he was very disapproving of that behavior from the umpire. And I just wonder, when is accountability for these guys going to become a thing? Coastal Carolina's coach got up there and he took on himself what he should have taken on himself. He's like, yeah, and he basically said, yes, I pushed it, and if that's an ejectable offense, then I should have been ejected. But the umpire that came sprinting in from first, and now Schnall is now a 2-game suspension for bumping, to which he literally, I don't believe he touched the man. Did you guys see him even touch?
No, he didn't touch him. He didn't touch him. No.
The guy fell on his own. Fell over his own feet.
He fell on his fat ass.
And I know you guys heard the shade after him saying, "I'm not responsible for another man's athleticism." I thought that was an incredible quote from that coach.
Yeah, that's perfect.
But I wonder when it's going to end, because it's insufferable. It's at all levels, and it's insufferable as a fan. And I'm a Coastal fan. I'm a Tennessee fan first, but I really do love Coastal, their program, and what's going on down in the Low Country over there. And it was disheartening for me because I want a spotlight on that program for how good they are and how they run themselves. And they're a little punch and judy, but they have some pop, and they got great arms. And I would love to see them be able to escalate to another level, even beyond the SBC. You know what I mean? The Sun Belt. And that knocks them down a thread for something they didn't even do, and it doesn't make any sense. And the umpires, for that, it could really turn some people off to college baseball is what I'm getting at, Tony.
If I was casually, and I appreciate your call, look, if I was casually watching that game, I wouldn't watch college baseball anymore. There's no way. I'd go, that's what that sport is. I'm not. It's just a terrible, awful look for your sport. It's embarrassing. It's bad. It's substandard. I mean, you cannot. And then here's one thing: if the guy's having a bad day, and he did it, this is a guy with a history of this. In fact, some Major League Baseball fans that haven't watched college baseball would go, no, not Angel Campos. No. Because he, along with Angel Hernandez and C.B. Buckner, are the three, dare I say, blind mice.
What's up with Major League Baseball umps named Angel?
There's a lot of them, Brian. There's a lot of on-hells out there.
They're not the Angels in the outfield, I guess.
A lot of on-hells.
Not quite.
A lot of on-hells.
Hey, Tony, you mentioned something that kind of spurred a thought in my mind. There's college football has always been my favorite sport as a spectator.
Yep.
Remains that way today. And there's only one thing that I can say that I've truly been disappointed with college football, and that's the change in the environment that you would go into as a visiting fan. From the time that I started traveling in the late 70s until the time that I quit in the early 2000s, nothing degraded more than that experience. And I'm not excusing our fans either. I've never been a visiting fan here, but I'm sure our fans are guilty of it too. And that's a dang shame.
Yeah, and I'm not. I've talked to like some family friends who are like, the stuff you say about the Eagles, you Eagle fans, you really mean that? I'm like, yeah, I mean that. It's very off-putting. It's almost to the point where I almost want to cheer against my team. Because there's no reason to treat somebody like that. There's just no... Why? I mean, we both love the same thing. Without you being over there, if it was just all us, what would the point be? I mean, look, I love talking trash to opposing fans and that kind of thing. But I'm going to physically do something to you. I'm going to damage your car. I'm going to spit on you. What? Huh? So, yeah, it's a shame, Jeff. I don't know what it's like now, traveling around the deal in the college.
No, I don't either, Tony. You're right. I haven't traveled
because it's more
regularly since the early 2000s.
It's a lot more expensive now. You wonder if they've priced a lot of that out of the deal. So, who knows? But we certainly live in a society. I was pulling out of a business the other day, and this heat does this to people, but I saw a guy turning out of a business left onto Paper Mill Drive. I was turning right. He was turning left, but there was a car behind him. He got out of his car. The person behind him did something, and he was literally like in the guy's driver's side door, like trying to induce this guy to get out of his car. And I'm watching this and I'm going, Okay, I see things like this on YouTube. I hope this guy doesn't grab a gun. I mean, I just, And then, come to think about it, Bino, that same guy was umpiring that game yesterday behind the plate. Because it's the same thing. It's like there's just a certain way to behave.
Yeah.
And these people at sporting events, you're not on the field. I mean, newsflash. You're not on the field. It's fun that you're there. Make some noise. Let's have some fun. We can affect the outcome of a game every once in a while, but you're not playing. And by the way, you're not going to be playing. Quit pretending. That's all. Anything else? Go ahead, Bino.
No, the only thing I was going to say is, Tony, and it's in the social media age, mob mentality has just increased exponentially, and it's ugly. Just period. It's ugly.
It's kind of sad, actually, but appreciate you, Bino. Thank you, Bri. You're in my prayers. Much love. Thank you, guys.
Have a great week, guys. Thanks to all the listeners.
Absolute blessing today to be here with you. That's going to do it for us. I want to thank our friends at TLD Logistics. They're online at tldlogistics.com. Absolutely amazing day with you. Be cool if you're getting out today, and be careful. This week is going to get brutally hot. And love you, appreciate you. And Lance, make sure you try out our mixer. Talking to Sexy Lancy there. TLD Logistics, online at tldlogistics.com for all your shipping needs. If you're a driver and you want to get in the game, you can get in the game with TLD Logistics. They've got you at TLD Logistics. They're online at tldlogistics.com, and great opportunities for our drivers out there. In the meantime, for Bino, for Brian, my name's Tony. And for Willie D. Heflin, a.k.a. the Superstar, have yourself a great day. Be blessed. G to the B to the O. And tomorrow, go Reds, go, and beat Bino. Appreciate you. Peace. What's on sports-wise today, y'all? Anything? My sillies aren't on. Hockey and football are done. Or hockey and basketball are done. What's on tonight? Anything? Anybody know? Tips are always appreciated here at TonyBasilio.com. Because I'm telling you,
Powell, Knoxville.
My unit's working just fine. My unit's working just fine today. I hope yours is too. We need our units on board this week. This is no time to have issues. We need our units on board this week. What a goofy way to start the show. But hey, our units do have to hold up here. I was talking about that because Bino was having trouble with his unit yesterday. I'm so immature. Forever 9 years old. There's like a store, Forever something. I'm Forever 9. The other day, frequent lurker, longtime supporter of the show, Jennifer Morris, texted me and said, "Did you just sing a Wham song to Will Heflin?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Okay, just checking." Oh, what am I doing here? Hang on. I got to run the show back. Here we go. We need our units on board this week. This is no time to have issues with your unit. Because I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, it is H to the O to the T. Ow. And we're playing music live Thursday night down at Calhoun's in Lenoir City. And then Friday at Calhoun's on the River. And I'll tell you what, it is H to the O to the T outside. Bino, Jeff, no time this week for your unit to be on the blink, if you know what I mean.
You got that right, Tony, and I thought ours was yesterday, but it made a comeback, so we're good.
Did it quit working for like a little bit?
Yes.
Oh.
Apparently it's got some kind of delay.
Oh.
Once it kicks off, it has some kind of delay on the compressor coming back on. So, but the wife figured it out as usual. So we're all good.
How soft are we, Bino, as people? All of us that gotten used to that.
Oh yeah, we're not ready for any of this anymore, Tony. Nobody's acclimated for this.
Did you have air conditioning?
Guys are doing roofing. They're working on the roads.
Did you have air conditioning in your house growing up, Bino? Because we didn't. We never had air conditioning.
Yeah, I did. You know, it's a window unit, spitter and sputtering, trying to cool the whole house down. But
window unit. I remember those days. Yeah. Yep. I had a window unit in my upstairs room because I slept upstairs in our house. Like, people don't realize this in Pennsylvania. In the summer, it gets hot. Like, there will be, well, at least when I was a kid, there were 2 or 3 week periods where it doesn't go below 80 degrees. I mean, it's smoking hot at night. You're literally you're sleeping